I've learned a lot about self-care. And when you can't get medicine because you have no housing, when you have no money, you can't get pills. What they do, they just let you go when you're in pain. So you do self Reiki. That's all I've ever found. I went to a hospital. They freaked me out. You got no housing. You might be a bum. Maybe. Maybe your housing things. Maybe somebody stole my property, like stolen land. Let it go. Let it go. I'm leaving Ontario because of that. And I just looked at the lack of compassion in these healthcare workers who were burned or burned out. I couldn't. Some of them are all right. More of the European ones that are coming in, they're better. But some of them are these. I don't want them. They're just lacking compassion. I I was in the hospital for 5 days because I fell on the floor because of the phone. Do I have to explain this? I was ruminating over my brother's death because they never came around and he fell on the floor. Well, I couldn't get a ride home. And I walked 3 miles back and I wasn't well. I wasn't eating right. And that's what I don't like here. I'm moving out. A lot of people are moving. I talked to a guy, I said, "You got tables to set." Moving back to India. That's the way it is. They're all moving out. Now, everybody's bitching about taxes. What's the first thing they tell you? We'll get more hospitals, we'll fund more doctors. Well, let's look at this and be honest. Doctors are educated, right? And they some very good doctors, okay? But they can't afford the health care, the housing, because it's so high. And they got to charge more. The hospitals pay more. But the frontline workers, nurses, some of them are good. And they're from other countries and they have a lot of compassion. But I saw a few there that were just, what do you call them, personal care workers. Oh, the care, the compassion was lacking. There's an old man, he couldn't get to the toilet. They have to sit on a commode. Well, he's a big guy and he's in his 80s. And I said, "Could you come and help him?" And all they said was, "We're worried about hurting our back. You're so big." Oh, it really helps the guy. He's got to go to the bathroom. He'll have an accident. So I had to go down the hall and ask for it. It's ridiculous. And then I find out the lack of organization. The nurses are saying can't communicate to patients. There's good doctors. They're burning out. The whole system's buggy. And I'll tell you why. I'm not going to be rude about this. I'm going to say we need doctors for emergencies and accidents. And this farm accidents happening out west. We need medical care. But generally, we can look after ourselves if we learn some basic exercise and eating right and good standards of lifestyle. Intuitive eating and intuitive exercise and things. Not everything suits everybody. As a high person, I don't go to gyms. I go walking and hiking. I just find too many people in a gym, and you ever go to a gym and the guy's showing off? I just did so many bench presses, but he's yapping to you. I didn't like that, so I'm not. I took a course on being a highly sensitive empath. We're not good in gyms, so there's a lot of us. I'm seeing a lot of doctors. Well, I see good practitioners saying, "I'm done. You won't do what you're told. I give you a prescription to go out and get some exercise, something. You want a pill. Pills go so far. But that's all they do, and they don't want to look at. That's why I'm divorced. My wife would not do what her doctor told her. She had diabetes, and it was so serious that I couldn't do anything with her. They just expect to live on the welfare system, on disability, and not try to get well. Now, she was blind, okay? Her life wasn't good, but I tried to support her. But when she's got type 2 diabetes and eating ice cream, what can a doctor do? What can a doctor do? He did something. He got out of Ontario, left. He says, nobody wants to do any self-work. So I see a lot of doctors now going online and teaching self-care. I think that's more effective than funding all these hospitals where people abuse the system by not self-compassion and not trying. I charge for my services. I am a certified Reiki master and a meditation coach, and I'm learning more, and I want to counsel people on nutrition and health. I think that's important as a online practitioner. And psychotherapy, just some basic groundings of gratitude and CBT and a lot of just basic stuff like EFT tapping, emotional freedom technique. So as a Reiki master, I'd like to tune people and empower them more, have more people attuned to Reiki or energy healing. And one of the requirements is you take a after course in self-healing. I think that's important. I see a lot of Reiki practitioners don't do enough self-healing. I talk to them, why don't you do more self-healing? How many times a day? At least once. And keep the energies up, and you get better and you get healthier. And that's important for you to be, if you're an energy healer, to do self-healing a lot. You look at some Reiki masters, they died before their time, and self-care is important. I'm getting there. I'm 68. And I just know what's wrong with me is the food supplies aren't good here. So I'm going to an area where there's a ranch and I can grow food. And I'll probably learn to pickle and preserve food. And cut down on other things. Like growing food will save me money. Root vegetables. That's the way the pioneers did it. Go back to some of the old traditional things. These box stores are overpricing, and even in Alberta, it's getting expensive. So, you can't afford good food, grow it. Share, if you got too much, share it with the community, the small grassroots economy in your communities. Do farm shares. My cousin does that. He's got a bit of property, retired, and lives in Creemore. He put his yard into a garden. He had a little garden tractor, and he sells a lot of natural organic food, or whatever you want to call it. There's many ways to grow food, permaculture, agriculture, chickens, eggs, things that we need to eat that are healthy. And to discover what a diet is. My wife wasn't vegetarian. She said that's fine. She was a naturopathic doctor. But she said you should eat lean cuts of meat. Sure, it's expensive. But how much do you eat? But she switched to 5 quarts ice cream with type 2 diabetes and insulin. And her blood sugars dropped so low that she had a glucose crash. When that crashes, you have brain damage and you have dementia. I lost her. And it's this lack of self-compassion I want to teach. More self-compassion. So I hear this dog-eat-dog economy that I don't think's fit. I think more self-compassion. I'm worth looking after. So when I learned Reiki, I practice precepts. And that changed my life. The vibration of these precepts. Precepts are just for today. I will be kind to all living beings. Just for the day, I will do my work honestly. Just for the day, I will not anger. I anger a lot. I am working on it. So I use a lot of freedom technique. I got a lot of issues. Living here, it's a trauma zone. But it's been good. I got to look at the good and coming back and going into what I call exposure therapy and living through it. Another struggle. And it's never got better. It's got worse here. Ontario's got far worse. I don't think anybody knows it. I think people are overthinking all the time. I think our society is overconsumed with information. And it's good to have information. But my role in life is to self-empower, and you have intuition and find the knowledge you need to find that suits you, that resonates with you. Because not everybody's the same. Some people like the Ayurvedic system. I find natural health works for me, personally. There's other people that are more into, holistic naturopathic medicine. Me, it works. Pills tend to imbalance me. And I'm not running down the medical system, but sometimes I think it's overused. So Alberta did something right. They quit paying doctors by prescription. That means they get paid by visit. And then they find the right pill for you. The doctor out there says, Greg, you got high blood pressure, but we need a drug study on you. And I'll tell you why. He said there's 30 drugs on the market. Statins, they don't all work on that's the non-generalized system of looking at an individual, doing a drug study, and a pharmaceutical technician looks at my health and what might work. Just throwing pills at people because the doctor gets paid that way, that's not a good system. I almost died in Ontario because of that. It was a psychiatrist, he diagnosed me bipolar. So I'm going to tell you something. Reiki does not diagnose. And that was a misdiagnosis. I looked it up later, and it's compound PTSD that mimics the symptoms. So we look at a group of symptoms and we categorize them. There's problems there. We can put them down. We know that looks like bipolar. But it isn't. The new DSM doesn't even diagnose it right. He's a trauma psychiatrist, and he says it doesn't diagnose compound PTSD. Compound PTSD is unraveled trauma over the years that are buried down. We can't even remember. And it takes a lot to heal it. It's like untangling fish and wire. So I'm not talking against mental health. I'm talking about the system. It seems to be the quick manual book. DSM-5 improved to diagnose PTSD recently, but it didn't before. It's a lot of work on this mental health system. So Dr. Abram Hoffer came, I hope I don't get cut off here, but Dr. Abram Hoffer was a psychiatrist. You'll find him on here. He died in 2009. He was working on niacin and what they call molecular biology to help mental health. So what got me right was True Hope and Power. That worked for me. It worked for about 90% of the people that tried it, I think. It works. It worked for me to get you off these pills. And if you're a young person and you're a young woman, you get married, you want to have babies. And if you're on the Ativan, you can't have children. I talked to a couple there. She adopts animals. She says, I can't have children. Oh, I got bipolarity. I really think most of these illnesses are caused by traumatic events, childhood events. I really personally believe that. So when we do self-healing, like Madame Lakata taught us on the spleen and liver, that's where all this trauma gets caught. We release it gradually. And I think a lot of people have trauma somewhere. Anger issues, I see a lot of people have anger issues. And it's hard to break it. You got to get through all this. And actually, I see more young women talking to me. Oh, you're a Reiki master? I'm interested in that. Because I got a lot of issues. My husband cheated on me, and I had a lot of childhood trauma. Can I learn this? Yeah, I want to teach it. And I do it on horses. And I do it on dogs and cats. And I keep on learning how to apply it. But I started learning I've got Kruna Keymaster, I've got crystal, I've learned crystal attunements. I'm attuned to crystals. Like the Reiki masters aren't. I am attuned to crystals. Crystal energy is a special attunement. And I'm attuned to Kruna Reiki, master level, and Grandmaster, 20 degrees. I'm attuned to Kundalini, 9 degrees of Kundalini. That's a lot of intense Reiki. So I absorbed it slowly. And I took the levels a week apart. Yeah. It takes a long time to get it, but you're absorbing it, and you take these chi balls and you attune to it. And once you do a good attunement, you're a good healer. So to activate Reiki with Kundalini is no symbols. It's just no intellect. Quantum healing is zero thought. It's to break down into the quantum realm of stillness. And that's why we practice Reiki and do it privately and when it's stable. We want silence in there and just let us do the energy healing with horses. I'm learning a lot of things about sound therapy. I said I'd like to sell the tarot. I got a wholesale license for it. I'll have to get it from a friend out in Alberta and get reinstated. And what I'm learning is the teardrop, raindrop essential oil method for horses. It works quite well. These things are complementary to veterinary care. And if we can keep horses and dogs and cats well, and you can learn Reiki and I'll teach it, I'm empowering you to look after your pets. But we got to know nutrition. You know what I mean? Pet nutrition, it might cost a bit. Good nutrition for the dog or cat. Veterinary science has come a long way in knowing pet nutrition. Some of these cheap foods aren't good for your pets. No. And we have to back things up with medical or veterinary science. I'm not a complete man like voids the other healthcare system. But I'm trying to cut through the amount of overuse of that type of medicine that's costing taxpayers money. So we need a good environment, we need good food, good activities, good recreation. The amount of time we work, we need time management. We need time off. We need community value. We need more reconnection with local people. I don't think large communities are working anymore. I see around here, no connection. I don't know anybody here. And I like rural. I like farm communities. There's small population. Everybody knows everything. And being friendly to your community. Alberta's like Texas in ways. And things are not working in some of the political fronts, and I'm not going to talk about them. It seems like the gas tax is being removed, but these are what happens when we really believe that this is going to work, cutting gas tax. And that didn't seem to work because they scammed the taxes off us. We got an extra high. I'm looking at everything. I'm a senior, and I can see people struggling in this world, young people, these prices, and looking at the taxes and looking at what they're contributing to my pension. And I can understand their frustration. So if it goes to Alberta, maybe they'll go off the system. That's why I want to get there and go into their own. And Rachel, but I'm looking at the price of food's going up. And NDP are talking about trying to get in power again. Rachel Notley. And I don't know how it's going to go, but it's not politics. When political parties make decisions on taxation cuts and they don't work, we got to make another plan as individuals and work as Albertans and save Alberta. Because I really don't like Ontario. Why? Because it's a me place. When I was out in Alberta, I noticed there was more rural values, more people working together. And I don't like racism, but that's only in the East. I don't think there's a bit, but I try to keep away from hating people. It's a low vibe energy. And it's just frustration and anger because you're paying so much damn tax and everything, and you're blaming everybody. It's the way we do it. We're human beings, and we tend to blame and hate and bitch. Look at the U.S. government. They're still wanting to get. They're attacking different politicians. It's never any rest of who done it. But Kennedy once said, "It's not what the country can do for you; it's what you can do for the country." Well, looking after yourself might lower the taxes. Take the stress off the health.